Hey, hey, Mystic Magic podcast fans. We are in for a treat today because today my guest is D. Neil Elliott, a highly educated businessman, owned a profitable consulting firm, had a wonderfully successful career, an amazing wife and family. But he was facing a lot of challenges and he was in a dark place. So by accident, he discovered a higher road. And he traveled that road and transformed his life. Now, over the following year, he lifted himself up to an inner state of love, peace, joy, and abundance. His perspectives on life changed entirely. His troubles and tribulations were the impetus that he needed to find the key to enable him to revolutionize his life. He learned that the search for a better life is not just positive thinking or saying affirmations or chanting mantras, but the key was to ascend in both spiritual perception and truth, and to know to use the right process to break through your ego barriers. So, for 3 decades, Neil read hundreds of self help and spiritual books and self development courses, and they offered him hope for change and improvement. But nothing fulfilled his needs or delivered on its promises. So, Neil's desire and his new mission in life is to share the knowledge he gained and the process he used on his journey to self awareness, and a blueprint document he discovered was instrumental in transforming his life. He wants to give us, regardless of our stations in life, our tools, our opportunities to empower. He wants us to transform our lives and get peace and joy and love and prosperity in our own environment. So Neil believes that as more and more people follow this higher road to true spiritual perfection, a new era of love and peace will dawn for everyone throughout the world. Welcome, D.
Oh,
Neil, to Mystic Magic.
thank you so much, Celeste. And please, Reverend Celeste, and please just, and call me Neil.
All right. Great. So now that we're buddies, um, this has been quite a journey for you, and it sounds like you were pretty determined. What do you think you can attribute that determination to find your joy?
Life, it came to the end of the rope for me. And I was just done with it. And I saw no hope. And I was, no matter how much money I made or, where I went or what I owned or who I rubbed elbows with, I had no hope. It was just, I was done with life. And, it's only through lessons of suffering will the journeying soul gain self-knowledge to retain individuality after it has discarded the ego. And so for me, this getting to this place of utter despair and depression and hopelessness opened me up to start asking those questions about what's our purpose in life? Why are we here? Because if we're here just to experience this misery and this pain, why on earth would anybody want to go through that? And so just exploring those questions on its own, then I became open and curious about learning something that could help me understand why and how I had created this misery in my life and how I could turn my life around. And that's when I received the information to enable me to go through that process. So I kind of had to get to this state of total despair, and then this search for our truth. And
Okay.
when that happened, and I became open and curious, then this information came to me.
So that was just your journey. We all don't have to suffer in order to come to an enlightenment, right?
You do not.
So, from all of the self help books and self development courses, what connected you with spiritual practice in the most effective way?
You know, two things, I think. The first is I had to learn some stuff in science that we know in science today that bridged this gap between, kind of what we know in science to spirituality. And so I lay all this out in my book. And the second thing is and as part of that process, what I needed to understand that everything I believe to be right or wrong, good or bad, true or false, is really just a belief. And we embed these beliefs that we adopt as children, and we learn and we grow and we reinforce. We embed them in our subconscious mind, and they become like concrete. They're very hard to break up and dissolve. You can't just use your willpower to change them. And so you need this process to get in there to break up these erroneous beliefs about life and about ourself, break them up, and then rebuild them to be consistent with where we come from and to where we return after death. And so when you understand this process, and then you understand that we are meant to be kept in peace and plenty and love and harmony and joy,
Yes.
we just don't understand what we're doing to ourselves.
Right.
And when you understand all of this process, and then you get a glimpse of what our reality really is and how to achieve it, then you can go through this inner cleansing and rebuilding of your consciousness to be in alignment with the divine or God or Allah or Yahweh, whatever you want to call it, our creator.
Sure.
And when you do that, then your life changes.
So, what are you referring to specifically when you talk about the higher road?
A higher road is really referring to coming back to our truth, who we really are. We are unconditional love, and we are meant to be open and purified channels of the divine to express this unconditional love to everyone and everything in our environment, to completely accept and understand that everybody is here through this evolutionary process of the soul. And it's not our place to judge or condemn or demean or, take actions upon that are negative and contrary to unconditional love, but to accept people for who they are and the process that they're in the journey that they're on, and support them and love them, so that they too will eventually, whenever it's right for them, wake up to this and then begin their own process of this inner journey of cleansing and rebuilding your consciousness, of coming back into alignment with who we are meant to be while we're here on earth.
So, was there any particular faith or path that got you going?
So I grew up agnostic, and I have not had any religious training. I know a little smatterings, and when I mean little, I mean little. Like, if you're good, you go to heaven, and if you're bad, you go to hell. So little, and
Rudimentary, if you will.
yeah, if you even call it that, and so no particular faith. It's more of I learned things that have been hidden since the beginning of time.
Mhm.
And I learned that, one key thing, we create every event and every experience that comes into our life through these mechanisms of the universe, this law of cause and effect,
Mhm.
to create these rebound forms that burden and wound us, lift us up, make us healthy, but also create these rebound forms that burden and wound us. And we will continue to do this until we understand these mechanisms that this is what we're actually doing. And these are created by these erroneous beliefs that we have about life and about individuality and separation, which are not in alignment with who we really are. We're unified in the divine. We're unconditional love. And we are meant to express this unconditional love to everything and everyone in our environment. And so when you go through this process, it's like a work in progress. It doesn't happen overnight, it takes time. But as you go through this spiritual energy will flow into you, and then it'll help you through this whole process of inner cleansing and rebuilding. And it will support you, and it will guide you, and it will give you inspiration. And you just become this channel to express unconditional love to everyone and everything in your environment. And I can tell you, it's just, there's no human term to really describe this well, except it's miraculous. It really is. It's just so beautiful and so peaceful and so joy, no matter what's going on around you in your environment.
Right.
It's just, you just have an entirely different view of the world.
And by the same token, you also refer to some scientific discoveries and how there is some connection between um, this spiritual existence, purpose, body, mind, and happiness. So, what is that connection for you?
So the what we know is we know many things in science today, but one thing I can talk about really quickly is that we know that at a subatomic level we are just energy.
Mm-hmm.
So we believe that this body is, made up of these liquids and solid and has bones, and these objects around us like coffee cups and desks and computers are solid. But in reality, there's more space in them than there's anything that's solid.
Mm-hmm.
And this gives us this, we identify with the body, we identify with the little I mind of ego, and we become so embedded in this and believe that this is our truth, that we head down these paths of these egoic mechanisms to create these rebound forms through this law of cause and effect. All of this is described if you follow all 7 steps in my book. But, our truth is that we are co-creators. We are creator beings, and we use our thoughts and emotions to create everything and every event that comes in our life. And when you come back into alignment, you come back into unity with the divine. You come back in to be this channel, and you start to create these things in your life that bring love and peace and joy, regardless of what's going on around you. And you become, we are burdened by our past, and we project our past events into the future. And we're always living most of the time in our past of what we've done in the past or what we think is going to happen in the future. And really, what you need to do is you need to come to live in the present moment and be directed and guided by this spiritual energy, by our truth. And when this comes, you begin to live in this place of peace and presence and joy. And it's all connected. And what we know in science today can help us bridge this mental gap, this mental understanding of what we think is our reality, this body, this individuality, this little I mind of ego, we think is our reality, but it's not. Our soul is our reality. The little I mind of ego is merely a tool to create individuality and separation out of the unity of the divine. And when you understand this, you begin to learn and live from your perspective of your soul, to let your soul become the master of your life versus letting your little I mind of ego take control of your life.
Absolutely. Now, in your book, A Higher Road, you have 7 steps. And so How would you briefly describe those steps?
Yeah. So, and I do this in a way. I'm an engineer, so of course, it's all process oriented. So, your first step is to, as you go through my book, I'm going to bring everybody to the same point, every reader to the same point, to stretch your understanding of what consciousness really is. And I'm going to give you, for many people, it will be an entirely new concept of what consciousness really is. The second step is I'm going to unveil some of these truths that I learned from this compendium of material that I share with people after they read A Higher Road cover to cover. If it resonates with you, go back and start with some of the science material, start directly with step one. But as you go back and you start doing this process, I explain in my book how you can reach out to me, and I share this material for free for people that actually want to follow these 7 steps. And step 3 is really a reflection step. It's a step where you're going to sit down and you're going to write yourself a letter. And it's a letter that's only for you. It's not to please a God. It's not to please your spouse or share with any of your friends. It's only for you. And you're going to write this letter and you're going to be really honest and truthful with yourself about how you really feel about life. And what this does is this letter benchmarks what your consciousness currently is. Then you're going to seal it and you're going to put it away for a year. Your step 4 is we're going to go through a process where very specifically, we're going to start to go through this process to cleanse your consciousness of all of these false beliefs that you have. And then we're going to rebuild your consciousness to be back in alignment with where we come from and to where we return, which is unconditional love. And step 6 is you're going to learn a meditation. And the difference between, I tried meditating in the 90s and in the 2000s. And although this meditation has all these great things of lower blood pressure and less stress and less anxiety, all those things, the real purpose of meditation is for you to enter the silence and stillness of your mind so that you can connect back to source.
Absolutely.
Source is in silence and stillness. And it is so spiritually refined and such a high vibrational frequency that it cannot enter into our human consciousness and make itself known to us. And so we start to go through this process of this inner cleansing, rebuilding, and reaching out in a very specific way to make contact. And when you do, it will start to enter into you, and you won't feel it because your human consciousness level is so dense and so low in vibrational level. But over time, you'll start to raise your human consciousness vibrational level, and then you'll start to feel the spiritual energy flow in through your head and then eventually throughout your whole body. So I'm going to teach you this meditation to do this. And then step 7 is this rinse and repeat process. You're going to go back and you're going to continue to learn these new truths and learn new knowledge. And then you're going to continue this inner cleansing and rebuilding. And it takes time and it takes dedication and it takes effort. But I can tell you it is so well worth it. Your life, no matter whether you live in the street or you live on a mansion, whether you're wealthy or you're poor, I tell you, if you go through this process, your life will totally change. It's just so beautiful.
Why is it so important for you to share this with people?
Because I want them to come back and live the way that the way they're meant to live, the way that we should be living, which is in this utter state of peace and love and joy and plenty, and help bring this world into this new era of love and peace, where we no longer have this denigration and hate and racism and judgmentalism and denigration of others and wars and all of these things which are contrary to unconditional love. We should be joining hands and we should be caring for our planet, for Gaia, and treating her with love and respect. And she will in turn treat us with love and respect, and she does. Except
yes,
we have not done our part. We have marred her and we have harmed her.
We've been quite unconscious.
We have been
So,
very unconscious.
how has your journey affected the people in your life?
The people in my, well, because I grew up agnostic, the people in my life, this is a huge shift for them. So um, they are, I think, in their own way, they're processing it.
Mm-hmm.
But, as you become this embodiment, there will be embodiment of unconditional love, and you go through this process. Just your presence around other people, when you hold them in love and when you hold them in their spiritual form, who they really are, their soul, which is unconditional love, which is perfect, you start to help heal them. And so all these things happen slowly and imperceptibly. So people around me are very, I know that they are being slowly healed and slowly bringing to this place of, being curious and wanting to wake up. They wouldn't use that language. They wouldn't describe it that way, but I know that's going on.
Right. And so, what's next for you in terms of your mission to awaken um, us mere mortals to their magnificence?
Uh, we're all equal and we're all meant to be here. It's just you've got to be open and curious. So no one's better than anybody else. We're all absolutely equal. So my my goal is to continue to share this knowledge and to help people. And there's another book in the wings, which will be, a higher road is really, it's like a roadmap or a tour guide. It gives you all of the steps and it lays things out, and it lays out some of the experiences that you may enjoy if you follow these 7 steps. So it's really a process oriented book to help people go through this. The next book that comes out is going to be more around, well, I don't know exactly what it's going to be around, but I've been told very clearly I need to sit down and start writing. So the words will come to me. I will be inspired, and I'm sure that I'm going to be sharing a lot more because I've been doing this now. So 2018 was my year of awakening, end of 2018, and it's just been this ongoing beautiful journey since then. And I've just learned so much. There's so much to share. I could talk for hours and hours and hours.
Well, we'll look forward to your next creation, and we so appreciate what it is that you have allowed yourself to become, and how you have said yes to your transformation, and how you have been so compassionately giving of yourself, of your time, of your treasures, of your talents, so that we may vibrationally be on the same love field, and we can really transform life
Yeah.
as we know it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely, and I thank you for all the work that you're doing,
Yes.
and all the help that you're providing to all of your listeners and others that you
Yes.
come in contact with. So, thank you.
Yes. This is Mystic Magic, exploring our spirit to understand our lives.